There is a theme that I'm recognizing in my work, especially as I'm promoting the enhancement of our spiritual lives with the mentorship circle. I'm just watching people and responses and questions, and there's a theme. And it's this notion that to enhance one's spiritual life, you have to carve out this time for spiritual practice. And what spiritual practice exactly? And there's a self-inquiry practice, the journaling practice, the meditation practice, the going on to retreat, a silent retreat, going to an ashram, a shamanic journey. It's this whole kind of concept that you have to exclude yourself from the day-to-day to be a spiritual person. Well, I see a spiritual life, a dedication, devotion to spiritual life very differently. I see it as a way of life, as what we bring to the day-to-day, what we bring to our work, our client work, what we bring to our bodies, what we bring to our morning practices, as in getting up in the morning, showering, eating food, and doing it with presence. How we interact with our relationships, and that choice we have and how we respond. That's spiritual. And it's those moments, those delicious moments where we lift each other up, where we listen with presence and we just lift each other up. It's what we do, what we create, what we write, what we share, what we read, and sharing that. It could be watching a film, and the sense of delight that one experiences in it. It could be dancing. It's found in the mundane. Okay? And another theme that I'm watching is people wanting to do it by themselves. Their spiritual lives by themselves, their intuition by themselves, their self-care, their self-autonomy. Somehow it's all this singular, the singular act that being authentic people means that we get to have it all together and be perfect at it. Well, that's a tall order. It's a high expectation. It's idolized version of who we're somehow trying to measure up to. And that's an unkindness towards ourselves, towards one another. Because our fulfillment may not be that we read our energy and we know exactly how we feel and we know exactly what we want and we're always clear about our boundaries. Sometimes life reflects that back to us. Sometimes life, another person, a spouse, a child, a coworker, gives us the guidance we need. But if we're so exact on having to figure it out ourselves, how can we be receptive? And I worked with a client this week that I saw patterns, and I saw what was going on with her biology. I saw what she was low in vitality, and I started to make some suggestions and help her get close to those areas so that she could devote herself to her personal well-being, to her health. And I could tell that she was in resistance. She didn't want to hear it from me because it represented a deficiency in her perception of herself, that somehow she's doing that wrong too. So if you're exhausted, you're doing something wrong? Oh, what? There's something impure and unsacred about you? How is it that we've become so fixated on perfection that we don't let ourselves be human and we don't let ourselves have human needs? And it's because we grew up. In so many family situations, I see it time and time again in my clients, is we grew up in environments where our needs were dismissed or minimized, overlooked, or treated like, oh, no, not this again. We're treated like we're too much. Our emotions are too much. So many psychological issues are from that core belief that we're not doing something right. and that we're wrong somehow for having a difficulty managing triggers and having a difficulty with navigating strong feelings. But how can we not be challenged by strong feelings when mom and dad were challenged by our strong feelings? Teachers were challenged by our strong feelings and challenged by their own. We get to become a safe place, little by little, step by step, moment by moment. We become that safe place that cherishes our feelings, our sensations, our ups and downs, our strengths and our weaknesses, everything that's here, everything, these contrasting polarities need love. So it's really important to pay attention to the ways that you reject yourself, that you don't love, those aspects that you think are unsavory, those aspects that you think are not spiritual or not good enough. All these facets that make us whole, they have information. The part of us that longs for connection and the opposing part of us has a drive to survive that's running in the other direction. They coexist. Yin and yang coexist. And the spiritual practice, if I can name a spiritual practice for you that is replenishing, nurturing of the soul, is to find our way in the center. Find our way in the center. It's not choosing one over the other. It's not hand picking our favorite. Well, I like that part of me and I don't like that part of me, so I'm going to revere that part. I'm going to reject that part. Well, that doesn't work. It's hurtful. We get to make space every day. Every day. If you don't have an hour, give yourself 5 minutes. 5 minutes. First thing out of bed, breathe. Notice your body. Before you eat a meal, notice gravity settling your body down. Notice that with your in-breath, you lift up, you float up. You're about to take a call, business, stop, catch your breath. Notice where your thoughts are. Notice if you're scattered. You can meditate all day long, these little snippets, mini meditations, all day long, in the practice of awareness.